Good morning, and thank you once again for joining me on the conversation with Kelly Diamond. You can catch me every Thursday at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern. You can also catch my written word every Monday on globalwealthprotection.com. Okay. And once again, Facebook strikes, and I strike back. I often see these kind of excerpts or snippets of ideas in memes, and they're meant for our 15-second consumption, right? And sometimes I see them and they challenge me to at least ask the question, where do you stand on it? What are your feelings towards something like this? Do you agree or disagree? And sometimes I participate, and sometimes it's just for me, to just ponder a little bit. There was one thing that caught my eye, and the reason why it does is because I don't like the idea of rebranding things to be villainous or virtuous. Okay, I think everything is pretty much, for the most part, benign, with the exception of rights violations. Okay, so as long as we're not violating each other's rights, and we have the thing, it could be a gun, it could be arsenic. It really doesn't matter. If it's just sitting there being, it's benign. Okay? It's the action we put behind it that ultimately, as people, as individuals, that will determine whether that will be accomplished for good or evil. Okay. So I see this meme circulating, and it says, if you're helping someone and expecting something in return, you're doing business, not kindness. To which my immediate response was, it can be both. And perhaps many of you are listening and saying, well, duh, of course. Of course it could be both. Okay. If you think about what business is filling a market need, okay, or market demand. Perhaps it's providing an alternative to what's already in the market. We see people who are dissatisfied with customer service or the price point, and perhaps we need to come in and introduce something new for this customer base, and maybe that'll be more satisfying. And ultimately, yes, it would be profitable. But you don't start a business. You don't start a business in something that there's no need for and there's no demand for, unless you can create it. But there needs to be first the demand of the market. If you plan to create that demand, that's fine, but the demand won't, unless there's demand, it doesn't bring anybody to market. So I looked up the word kindness because I'm a stickler for terms. I am. It's important, and I want to give a sidebar on this because I didn't realize at the time when I was majoring in linguistics just how important semantics is. Okay, it's one thing to make a distinction without a difference. It's another to not understand the words you're using. Okay, it's even more insidious to understand the words you're using and not give a shit and just redefine it to project what you want onto it, and then call everybody an asshole who doesn't agree with your personal subjective projection on these terms. Okay, so and I'm seeing a lot of this in discourse, in exchanges, especially when it comes to touchy subjects, political issues. People don't want to use the dictionary as a nonpartisan resource, and I believe it's the most nonpartisan resource. We have various dictionaries and various takes on terms, but by and large, we can come up with an agreement on those terms and move forward. Kindness. Kindness is one of those words where people just think they can be arbitrary with it. No, you don't get to be arbitrary with it. And it's an entry in the dictionary. Y'all look it up. I'm gonna give you what I found. Dictionary.com. Okay, we're not going deep into Black's Law, and I'm not trying to speak legalese, and I'm not trying to tap dance around shit. I'm gonna work with what I got and work with what you got. Okay, we're gonna go online, look it up on the dictionary. Okay, that's what I got. Kindness is a state or quality of being kind. Kind is defined as of a good or benevolent nature, having, showing, or proceeding from benevolence. Let's see. Indulgent, considerate, helpful, mild, gentle, and clement. Okay. It would be what Japanese people call yasashi, to define a certain kind of woman, a desirable type of woman. Okay. Now, what's benevolent? Expressing goodwill or kindly feelings, a desire to help others. There's also a third entry that talks about doing something for charitable purposes as opposed to for profit. So there is one entry under benevolence that makes that distinction, but you have to really scrape down to find it. It's not exclusively so. Okay, it is one of many implicatures of the word benevolence, and tangentially, by extension, one of many implicatures from kindness, but it's not an entailment. An entailment means it must be true. By definition, it must be true of the word. Okay? An implicature means it's a possibility. That certainly falls within the proper use of the word, but it's not the only use of the word. Okay? So yes, by all means, charity, mutual aid, all of that is absolutely an act of kindness. I don't deny that. And I'm not trying to contrast it and say that kindness does not include charity, or that kindness is exclusively business. I'm saying that business falls under the category of kindness just as charity does. Okay? Expecting something in return, wanting something in return, asking for something in return is not an act of, is not an act that is antithetical to kindness per se. We can go as far as bribery and say, yeah, that's not an act of kindness. Okay? Fair point. But somewhere between bribery and have all my shit for free, okay, is a huge middle ground of various transactions and trades. Now, it was described to me the value of gifting, right, once. The gift almost can't be repaid. And it's this whole, there's a whole thing on it. But in the interest of time, I'll abbreviate it and give you the black and yellow cliff note version. If we're walking down the street, right, and you see this pair of shoes, and you say, oh my God, I've been wanting this pair of shoes forever, and now it's on sale. Holy crap, I need these shoes. I want these shoes. I've wanted them forever. So I'm like, hey, go get them. I can wait. I just paid to fix my brakes. I don't have the money right now. I don't get paid until Friday. Fuck. They're not going to be there. They're discontinuing them. Blah blah blah. You know, it's like, this is it. It's you're either going to get these shoes or you're not. So I say, well, look, especially since they're on sale. You know, normally $50, you're going to get them for $20. Let's say. I'll special you $20. Shit. Get the damn $20. Here, get the damn shoes and pay me back later. Really? Yeah. Just get them. I can't live with your own regret. Let's do this. Okay. So you go and you buy the shoes. Oh my God, I love the shoes. They're great. Blah, blah. And you know, Friday comes along. First thing you do, you pay me back. Oh my God, thank you so much. They were the last pair of my size. I doubt they would have been there in 3 days. Oh, no problem. Great. Let's, you know, here, let's go out and get some coffee, blah, blah, blah. Right? You paid me back for $20. But you didn't pay back the fact that in that moment, there was only one person who could have done anything about it, and that was me. You can't pay back the fact that in that moment, I was there and I did what I did. Had I not been there and you were walking down the street and you saw that, you'd be, fuck, I'm out of money. And that'd be the end of it. Pretty much, right? And then you'd cross your fingers and hope that you could come back on Friday when you got paid to buy the shoes. Could have missed that opportunity. Opportunity cost was completely mitigated by the fact that I was there, okay, to provide the money. And I was glad to do it. And I certainly don't lord it over your head, but the fact remains is that you cannot repay the timing. You cannot repay in that moment somebody coming up with the money and affording you that opportunity. You can't. That's the benevolence. The benevolence is that I didn't have to lend you the money. And I'm like, oh, well, we'll come back on Friday. If it's there, it was meant to be. Oh my gosh. Women have that very conversation all the time. If you come back on Friday, the shoes were meant to be yours. That is the rationalization of all shoppings. Okay? I could have said that. And we'd still be friends. You know, everything, you know, no ill feelings. But it didn't happen that way. What happened was, I lent you the money. And you were like, oh, thanks. This is great. I got my shoes. Here's your 20 bucks back. Let me buy you some coffee. Let me buy you a coffee. On top of that, for clutching up and helping me out in that moment. Okay? Because that moment, people recognize that moment. People recognize and people know that it's more than the $20. It was the opportunity and there's no way to pay it back. That's the benevolence. That is the gift. That is the kindness. When there's money involved, it's not necessarily about expecting to get paid back. It's not about whether or not you're doing trade. The point is in that moment, you needed something. Somebody stepped up and provided it for you and filled your need. Whether they did that through commerce and trade, or they just did it through charity and philanthropy, it doesn't matter how they provided for the need. They did. That's the benevolence. So then, when I say a business is started addressing a market need or market demand, that unto itself is an act of benevolence. Don't think so? Okay. We all hate Walmart. God knows why, but we hate them. Okay, so we're all just gonna hate for a second. We all hate Walmart. Walmart is so fucked up. They don't pay. They don't have unions. Blah blah blah. Oh, horrible, horrible list of horrible shit ascribed to Walmart. I'm creating this lake of fire specifically for them. Dante didn't write this about the 10th ring, and I know what the 10th ring is. It's for Walmart. Fuck Walmart. Whole time it's rhetoric. Fuck Walmart. Right? God, you can find it everywhere. How horrible is Walmart? Oh, Walmart. They're horrible. They're a fucking blight. Oh, don't shop there. Oh, they're horrible. Blah, blah, blah. Days of this shit. Reams of paper. Article after article about how horrible Walmart is. Oh, why can't they be more like Costco? Why can't they be more like Trader Joe's? Oh, there's several reasons, but we're not going to address the actual economics or the pragmatism of it. We're just going to address the fact that Walmart sucks. Okay, Walmart sucks. Are we clear? Okay. 5 locations shut down. 5 locations shut down due to plumbing issues. I have my theories, but that's not what the show's about, so we're going to put it aside for a second. But for whatever reason, 5 locations of Walmart, 5 or 6, it might be 6, 5 or 6 locations shut down. Well, holy fuck. First, Walmart sucked just for existing. Now Walmart sucks for closing. Oh, you bastards! Just when I thought you couldn't be any worse, you shut your fucking doors. Where's my fucking job? The employees who hate Walmart say. Right? talking all sorts of shit about their employer and then being pissed when they close their doors. Now they're talking shit after they close their doors, expecting Walmart to scoop them back up in 6 months. Walmart sucks so bad. You hate them for closing their doors? What? I thought that was the kindness. Oh, I'm sorry for being an asshole in your neighborhood. I'm gonna shut my doors. What the fuck? You're gonna shut your doors? Where's my job? Oh, well, I had to take that with me, didn't I? What's the kindness for Walmart? One more. I'm gonna go buy my 57-cent can of corn at Walmart. Not at this location. It's closed. What the fuck? I used to pay $50 a week for my groceries for my family. Now I'm paying $75 because I have to go over here. And I have to drive further. Yeah, well. Walmart is saying they're going to reopen their doors in 6 months. I don't know what the real reason is why they closed. I have theories, but I can tell you this. It certainly is a wonderful social experiment on how much people want and need Walmart, for as much as they bitch about them. At the end of the day, $50 a week on groceries means a shit ton to somebody who can't afford $75. At the end of the day, having a job means something to somebody who now has no job and no prospect of replacing it. Because apparently not everybody needs a greeter. If you're going to sit there and argue that there was no benevolence in Walmart's existence in those 5 locations, then you need to go revisit the fucking dictionary. It is absolutely a kindness that Walmart even showed up. Because if it wasn't a kindness, then the kindness would have been to close their doors. And if that's the case, then why the fuck is everybody pissed off about it? They should be stoked. Good riddance. Maybe you can say that, in your tough talk, but at the end of the day, you're blessing the idea of people losing their jobs and having to buy unaffordable groceries. It's absolutely a kindness business. Business is benevolent. You need it. If you didn't, you wouldn't shop there. You go do it yourself. Somebody provided a convenience for you. They filled a need for you. They did it in your neighborhood within close proximity of you. When they couldn't do that, they got online and reached out to you and said, hey, all you have to do is click buttons to get what you need or want. I have a friend who buys up a certain amount of stock at certain stores and then resells them when they run out. Usually works around Christmas time. For certain things, he has an idea, she has an idea how it's going to play out and how popular it's going to get. And so he or she goes and buys it up. A couple of units, maybe 5 units. And then resells them brand new on eBay or Craigslist. The premium. And this one person they had encountered said, how mean are you that you would sell it for more than its MSRP? How mean am I? I'm the one who waited in line while you were procrastinating buying your presents. You could have bought them the same time I did, from the same location. But you didn't. I did. I bought them up. I waited in line. I dealt with shitty customer service. I footed the bill up front. So that you, 2 days before Christmas, would call me, who's too lazy to go and deal with the freaking crowds, and realizes that the shelves are barren, could conveniently meet and buy this brand new product with little or no inconvenience whatsoever. And you're telling me I'm me? I could just say no. There's still 10 other people who want this. Do you want this or don't you? Well, of course I do. Oh, then here we go. That'd be stretching the idea of kindness, but certainly there was a need, or at least a demand, for that product. And it's right to say, you didn't wait in line, because if you did, you'd have this product. You wouldn't need me. There's also a final aspect, okay, which goes beyond the benevolence of simply having a business. There's another aspect, the other side, the consumer's side. Okay. Now, if somebody were to offer me wash my windows at a street corner, I might take them up on it. And then the understanding is that you give them, you know, something. That's the understanding. Not washing your windows for free. He's asking for money. But he would like to do something for you to show that it's not just idle. And there's something to that. There's something to that. There's something about letting people pay you back. Allowing it. It's a big deal. It's important. Okay. It truly is. I know it doesn't sound right. It sounds like, well, why couldn't you just give them the money? You could just give them the money. And in the process, deem him totally worthless and unable to earn. I can't be that person. It's offering something. Recognizing a value. It doesn't have to be tantamount to what you give. You can give more. That's not the point. The point is that there was an exchange and there was commerce involved. But allowing them to do this thing is important. It's critical. You do have value, is what it says. Your work, your labor, your time, your effort is recognized by me. Person to person. Not socially, not corporately. One-on-one. I am recognizing value in what you're doing by allowing it to happen. And allowing this to be a full transaction, as opposed to just a one-sided act of charity. Let this be commerce. Let them sell you something that they have. If all they have is this, and they want to sell it, and it makes them feel honest, and it gives them pride, then you let them fucking do it. Don't be a dick on your fucking high horse. Humble yourself, for fuck's sake. I'm not big on Girl Scout cookies, for personal reasons. But if you're going to go deal in, if you're going to go talk to those crack slingers and buy a box of their shit, it's overpriced. We know this. I can make the goddamn box of cookies myself at home with all the ingredients that I can actually read with vowels in them where they're supposed to be for far less. Maybe $1 a batch. But we're going to go buy them for $4.50, goddammit, from this tiny little girl who's standing in front of the freaking grocery store. God bless her. Why? Why not just write a fucking check for $12 or $16 to the Girl Scouts? Why the cookies? Why accept the cookies? You're watching your waistline. I really shouldn't. Why not just write the check then? Why do people buy the fucking cookies? Aside from the fact they're clearly laced with crack, There is something in it. There's a purpose to it. The girl must feel like the sale was an accomplishment. I made this sale. I put myself out there. I stopped that person who was on their way to doing something else with no intention of buying. I stopped them. I pulled them over. I sold the fucking cookies. That was my sale. I did that. Now I'm responsible. Oh shit, it's $4.50. They just gave me a 10. I gotta make change. Here, I just gave you correct change. Now I'm going to smile and thank you for your business. You're going to take all of that away if you just write the bitch a check and say, keep the money. And keep the cookies. Here's the money. Now I'm just writing you a check because you're a cute little girl. That's it. No merit, no effort, no work, no reward, none of that. No accomplishments. You didn't accomplish anything. You stood there and existed as a 7-year-old. You were just being 7. You had no choice in the matter. You can't help it. You're fucking 7. You can't be 8 and you can't be 6 and you can't be male. So you're gonna just be a 7-year-old fucking girl standing in front of a fucking grocery store. And for that, I'm gonna write you a fucking check. How fucking sad is that? The whole point of fundraising, the whole point of all of it, is supposed to be to teach them a lesson. You're not going to be able to play today. You have to work. Lesson, life lesson. You're going to go out and you're going to earn, and you're going to compete with your other troops. You're going to put yourself out there. This didn't work. Now I'm going to try this. You're gonna thank them, and you're gonna practice customer service. You're gonna give them correct change. You're gonna do these things. You're fucking 7. Get out there and do this thing. No different than the lemonade stand. I'm raising money to buy a bike. I want to save up to buy a bike, and I want to earn it. So I'm gonna run this lemonade stand. So just fucking give them the money. Let them earn it. There's times when you just need the fucking money. And there's a time and a place for charity, but there's also a time and a place for business. People would do well to remember this, especially with their children. This ain't the bank of mom, the bank of dad. I don't harvest this shit in the backyard. I work for it. Now you work for it. Yeah, you buy your kids gifts. You also teach them a work ethic, and you teach them to fucking work for it as well. There is a time and a place. Both are acts of kindness. Both are acts of kindness. You have done somebody a huge kindness by buying the fucking cookies, by allowing them to wash your windows. A friend who's down on their luck, and you own a business. Maybe it's not a big business. You know, it's not a corporation. You're not the CEO of, you know, of Walmart here, but you got a little something going, and it keeps you going. You find out that somebody's down on their luck, and they're in the neighborhood. Now, you could send the missus over there with a fucking casserole, and her sympathies, and she's fucking good at it too. Her sympathies mean some shit. No one does compassion like the missus. Or you can offer them a job. Some small tasks around the office, some administrative work, something. And say, look, hey, I've got a part-time position if you want it. But, you know, just to hold you over until you can find something else. Far more sustainable than the casserole, I'll give you that, right? But yes, you are expecting something in return. You're expecting their labor, you're expecting their help. And in the process, you've also preserved their pride and their dignity. I'm not just going to give you something every time. That is not always the kindest thing to do. That is not always the most selfless thing to do. Sometimes it's just shitty and condescending. I would like it very much if people would stop trying to besmirch capitalism and business and trade as being this horrible boogeyman, this blight on society, this cancer that exists and shouldn't. It's a horrible practice. It's as horrible as addiction. No. Addiction, compulsive behavior, lack of discipline and control, those are the roots of evil. Trade is not evil. Trade is peaceful. Trade is what builds relationships and brings people together for a common purpose. Trade is what benefits two parties and puts them in a better place than they were in before. Trade is a benevolent act. You don't realize what voluntary actions, what kind of an impact it is, and how grateful we should be, and how gracious we should be, until people take the trade away. Like Walmart closing its doors. Like the government denying certain acts of trade and commerce. It becomes very dangerous, very scary, and upsetting when we are not allowed to behave in this benevolent way. Trade can be, and often is, kindness. To say otherwise is to deny its meaning. If you want to create another word, then create another word. You can have your own brand of this shit, and that's fine. But don't call it fucking kindness, because kindness already has an entry. If you want to call it altruism, call it altruism. If you want to call it charity, call it charity. All of those things can unto itself be kindness, but kindness is a very general term. It describes a disposition. And I refuse to allow somebody to sink the ship of trade and commerce and capitalism because they decided to just take poetic license with the word kindness and exclude all of that behavior, the trade and the commerce and the capitalism. And it's excluded from this kindness party we're having over here, semantically. As long as there's a dictionary and I still have vocal cords, that's not happening. That does it for me. I will catch you next week. Thanks for listening.